is also very enduring. A testimony of endurance, faithfulness of a God. I have never known a time when I have not believed in God. I have never not known a time when God has not believed in me. I remember being baptized at the age of 5, and I knew I had a personal relationship with God even before then. So, I don't think there's ever been a time when I have not known that God did not have my life in control. And make it short and sweet, you know. I was raised in a Christian home, and you know, I have been a believer all my life. I keep saying that, but it is just the absolute truth in my life. And when I met this really cute guy in high school, and, and I just knew he sang really pretty behind me in high school choir. And I loved to hear him sing. And so he asked me out, and my dad says, well, if he does not go to church, you can't date him. So, and Jim was not a believer at the time, and he absolutely turned away from God. And so thanks to my Christian father, Jim started going to youth group at Lakeshore Baptist Church, and became a believer there. But and we got married, and we've been married ever since. But anyway, that's all the way back then. God has seen us through so many trials in our life. I mean, serious times, and we have really been hit hard. But God has always seen us through, and I guess it really came to a pivotal point this year, this last August. I've always believed that God, had my life, had a purpose for me. And this summer in July, or last summer in July, we found a lump, in my breast. And I said, I'll go get it checked out. It's nothing major. But the diagnosis came back in August 18th, breast cancer. And, you always think, oh, it's not going to happen to me, but it did. And it kind of threw us for a loop. And I remember, we've asked for prayer from friends. We found out. And my kids both put something on Facebook, which I wasn't really excited about. Because, I don't like to air my problems. But, I was kind of upset for a short time. But that night, as I was laying there, I could not sleep. And I was praying to God and crying out to God. And just, Lord, I know you have this in control. And I know you have a plan for my life. Lord, I have 2 grandbabies I want to live for. I says, but if it's your will that I don't, that's fine with me. But, whatever you want. And I just prayed, and all of a sudden, I can name the time. It was 12:22 a.m. on August 19th. I felt the physical presence of God just wash over my body. I'm surprised Jim didn't feel it laying next to me. But it was amazing. I mean, I know people here have felt that same thing, but it was an actual physical feeling of God's peace washing over me. And since that moment, as Wendy is my witness, because I got up, because I was so excited, I got up and I got online, and there I found like 7,500 million emails from people offering support and prayers from Katie and Zach posting that online. And I was just overwhelmed and so grateful and thankful for all the prayers. But then all of a sudden Wendy popped up in her message. I don't know if you're awake or not, but I couldn't sleep, and I just thought you might be up. And so I was able to share with her about what God had done for me at that point. And so it was just a confirmation, affirmation that God is really with me. And there was people praying for me at that point in time. And but ever since that moment, I mean, His peace has been just over me. I mean, I end up consoling other people because they're worrying about me, and it says, why? God is with me, and He is guiding every single step that I take. And He has certainly been with me through every, chemo treatment, every radiation, has been with me in a wonderful, magnificent way. So that's the end, but not the end.
All right, I'm not going to be quite as short and sweet. She's just too sweet. For those of you who have attended here for a while, you remember our former pastor, Gary. Once in a while, I'd be involved in praise band, and he would say, I don't really feel like preaching today. Anybody else want to preach? I said, I got something to say, I'll say it. He said, no, really, anybody. Anybody want anything to say? Well, I guess if nobody wants to, then I'll preach. And so then when Pastor Stephen asked me if I wanted to give my testimony, I got things to say. My story goes back just a little bit further than hers. I was born at a very young age, and so I've been put behind the 8 ball from the very beginning, and struggled my whole life to make up for that, that being born early. No, all that being said, a couple years back, my job life started going really crazy, and I started getting under a lot of pressure, and was in some situations where I just couldn't see a way out of it, and I cried out to God. And I just said, I can't handle this. You've got to get me out of this situation. And he said, as audibly as I'm talking to you now, Jim, my grace is sufficient for you. He said, well, that's all well and good, but, I need to get out of this situation. And the situation escalated. I finally had to bid away from the job I was at that I really liked. And went into another job, and that was kind of all right for a while. And then things went south there again. And the further I went into these jobs, the worse things seemed to get. I kept crying out to God, and he kept saying, Jim, my grace is sufficient for you. And then I finally had an opportunity to take a job that I thought was going to be my future. I took this job, the second shift. 2 weeks later, we get diagnosed with cancer. And I just looked up at God, and I just said, really? My plate's pretty full here, I really have a lot of things on my own plate. Now I got to take care of this as well. And, and sharing it with our friends, and those of you who know me really well, you guys have prayed for me and for us, and the situations that we've both been through, and it's been amazing. I can't imagine not being able to go through this with this congregation and with this family of believers that we have. The intimate friends that we have here are something that I just can't even begin to imagine. But things were kind of all right. We're being held up. We're being supported. I've even had a few conversations with people here that, boy, you got a lot on your plate. I said, yeah, I know. And I've been praying out to God that, what? This plate's full. And then my brother, who those of you who may not know this story, has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He's 3 years younger than I am. And it's another hammer blow. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I said, Lord, I got nothing left on my plate. And he says, hang on a second, Jim. And he took that plate away and gave me a turkey platter. And he said, here, now you got plenty of room on your plate for more stuff. He said, Jim, I'm never going to give you more than you can handle. So you got plenty of room to handle more now. And then my dad had a mini stroke. And it's like, Jim, there's more room on your plate. My grace is sufficient for you. You have all you need right here. And I can't believe how probably the last, 6 to 8 months, I come into this church and I sit down in the pews, and the worship time here, I have a dry eye. When we're praising our Lord here, He's here. And if you don't feel the presence of the Lord, I don't know what's going on, because His presence is so real here, it's unbelievable. And if you've known me for any length of time, you know that I have a lot to say and that I don't seem to stop at times. And a lot of people probably want me to stop. But lately, there's a Christian artist that years ago I got into. His name is Randy Stonehill. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him or not. But he has a song where the opening line of it is, there's a window in my attic where I've gone 1,000 times, sending prayers up like a letter written across a paper sky. And as the days turn into seasons, and the seasons turn to years, I've been speaking less and learning how to hear. And I think that's my story right now, is that I spent a lot of time talking. And in this last couple of years, God is teaching me how to listen to Him. And it really came to fruition to me about 3 weeks back. I was laying in bed with my cup of coffee watching a fishing show. And those of you who know me know I love fishing. And there's a fishing show called Angling Edge where the people who produce the show are Christians. And they always end the show with a little testimonial or a little devotion or something. And on the end of that show, the guy was mentioning the fact that because they are a Christian-based show, so many people send them things. And he said, this one really touched me, and I thought I needed to share it with you. And this guy had sent in the fact that for people who think that God is silent and that he's not speaking, for a lot of them, for the vast majority of them, the reason that they're not hearing God is because they're not listening to God. And God just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, Jim, I've been trying to get your attention for 2 years now. And here it is. You need to listen to what I have to say. And more, I'm at that spot now where God has finally got my attention and he's allowing me to hear him. But in the midst of all this, we have a couple of the most beautiful grandchildren the world has ever seen. Now I know you guys, there's people here who have grandkids and theirs are beautiful too, and I don't doubt that. God has blessed us with the most beautiful grandchildren in the world. And it's kind of a metaphor for life for all of us. There's pain, there's struggle, there's suffering. But in the midst of all that, there's joy, and there's beauty, and there's future. And that's what Christianity, what our life is all about. So I thank you for allowing me to have this time to ramble on, but just want to let me share that with you guys. So thank you very much for your time.